The silver ships moved through space like hunting wolves, their hulls gleaming under distant starlight. Admiral Marcus Blake stood on the bridge of the warship Thunder's Edge, watching the small blue planet grow larger on his viewing screen. His fingers drummed against the metal railing as he studied the world they called Terra 3. "Report," Blake commanded, his voice echoing through the quiet bridge. Lieutenant Emma Watson looked up from her control panel, her young face serious. "Sir, we are picking up radio signals from the planet. Basic electromagnetic waves, primitive television broadcasts. Our computers have been listening for 3 days now." Blake nodded slowly. The Vorthan Empire had done this dance many times before. Find a young world, study their simple technology, then take control. It was always the same pattern with these backward planets. "What do our science teams say about their development?" Blake asked. Watson pressed several buttons and read from her screen. "Dr. Miller estimates they have been using electricity for maybe 200 years. They have basic rockets, but nothing that can leave their planet's orbit. Their weapons appear to be chemical-based projectiles and simple explosives." Blake almost smiled. Another easy conquest for the Empire. These humans, as they called themselves, would surrender quickly once they saw the power of Vorthan technology. Most primitive worlds gave up within hours of first contact. "Sir," called out Communications Officer Robert Davis from across the bridge. "We are receiving hundreds of different languages from the planet. Our translation computers are working to decode them now." Blake walked over to Davis's station and peered at the scrolling text on the screen. The words were simple, crude even. Talk of weather, basic commerce, entertainment programs about fictional stories. Nothing that suggested advanced thinking or military capability. "Have you found any signs of space-based defenses?" Blake asked his weapons officer, Commander Sarah Mitchell. Mitchell shook her head. "Nothing, sir. A few basic satellites orbiting the planet, but they appear to be for communication and weather monitoring only. No weapons platforms, no defensive shields, no patrol ships. They seem completely unaware that we are here." Blake clasped his hands behind his back and paced slowly across the bridge. In his 30 years of military service, he had conquered 12 worlds for the Vorthan Empire. Some had fought bravely but uselessly. Others had surrendered immediately upon seeing Vorthan ships in their skies. But all had been primitive compared to the Empire's advanced technology. "Sir," Watson said suddenly, looking up from her communications array. "I am detecting some unusual signals from the planet." Blake turned toward her. "What kind of signals?" "Well, sir, most of their broadcasts are very basic, but there are some encrypted transmissions that seem more sophisticated. Our computers are having trouble breaking the codes." Commander Mitchell frowned. "Encrypted transmissions? That suggests some level of military or government organization." Blake waved his hand dismissively. "Even primitive worlds have simple codes. Their encryption cannot be very advanced if they are still using basic radio waves to communicate." Lieutenant Watson worked at her console for several more minutes before speaking again. "Sir, I have managed to decode their primary languages. Should I prepare the standard conquest message?" Blake nodded. "Yes. Send the ultimatum in their most common languages. Give them 48 hours to surrender, as per Empire protocol." Davis began typing rapidly at his communication station. The message was standard, used on dozens of worlds before Terra 3. It explained that the Vorthan Empire now claimed their world, that resistance was futile, and that surrender would mean protection under Imperial rule. "Message sent, sir," Davis reported. Blake expected silence, or perhaps panic chatter across the planet's communication networks. Most primitive worlds either went quiet with fear or erupted in chaos when they realized they were not alone in the universe. Instead, something unexpected happened. A calm, clear voice responded in perfect Vorthan language. "Vorthan Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. We have received your message and acknowledge your presence. We request a 48-hour ceasefire to prepare our response." The bridge fell silent. Blake stared at the communications console as if it had betrayed him. "Run that message again," Blake ordered. Davis played the recording once more. The voice was steady, professional, and showed no signs of fear or confusion. Worse, the speaker had used formal military protocol when addressing them. "How do they know our language?" Watson asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Blake's mind raced. Primitive worlds did not learn Vorthan in a few hours. The language was complex, with grammar structures that took years to master even for other advanced civilizations. "Sir," Mitchell said slowly, "if they know our language, they may have been monitoring us for some time." Blake shook his head. Impossible. Our ships were undetectable until we entered their system. They have no deep space monitoring capability. But doubt crept into his thoughts. The response had been too calm, too prepared. Most primitive worlds panicked when first contacted by an alien civilization. They certainly did not respond with military protocols and requests for ceasefire terms. Davis, try to establish two-way communication, Blake ordered. I want to speak with whoever runs their military. After several minutes of back-and-forth signals, a new voice came through the speakers. This one was older, more authoritative. This is General James Harrison of Earth Defense Command. We are prepared to discuss terms, but we need time to coordinate our response with our global leadership. Blake felt a chill run down his spine. Global leadership suggested these humans had already unified their planet under some form of government. That level of organization usually took primitive worlds several more centuries to achieve. General Harrison, Blake spoke into the communicator, you will surrender immediately. Your world cannot resist the power of the Vorthan Empire. There was a pause before Harrison responded. Admiral Blake, we understand your position. However, we request that you maintain your current position while we prepare our reply. Any movement toward our planet during the next 48 hours will be considered an act of aggression. Blake almost laughed at the presumption, but something in the general's tone stopped him. It was not the voice of a frightened primitive. It was the voice of someone who believed he held cards that Blake could not see. Very well, Blake replied, more curious than concerned. You have 48 hours. As the communication ended, Blake looked around his bridge at the confused faces of his crew. Something was not right about this conquest, but he could not identify what it was. General James Harrison stood in the enormous underground command center, watching dozens of screens showing the alien ships hanging in space above Earth. The room buzzed with quiet activity as hundreds of technicians worked at their stations. Most people on the surface had no idea this place existed, buried 3 miles beneath the Colorado mountains. General, all deep space monitoring stations are reporting in, said Colonel Patricia Brooks, walking up to Harrison with a data tablet in her hands. The Vorthan fleet consists of 37 ships. Standard conquest formation, just like we studied from the Kepler incident. Harrison nodded grimly. The Kepler incident had happened 8 years ago, when Vorthan ships had destroyed a small colony on the edge of known space. Earth's secret deep space sensors had recorded everything, including the alien battle tactics and ship capabilities. What about our own fleet status? Harrison asked. All ships are in position and waiting for your orders, sir, Brooks replied. Captain Thompson reports the Retribution is ready, and Commander Parker's squadron is holding position in the asteroid belt. Harrison smiled slightly. For 30 years, he had overseen the most important secret in human history. While the world above continued with normal life, thinking they were alone in the universe, humanity had been preparing for this exact moment. Dr. Rebecca Morgan approached from the research section, carrying a thick folder of papers. She was the head of the Xenotech division, the department responsible for studying alien technology. General, our analysis of the Vorthan ships is complete, Dr. Morgan said, opening her folder. Their weapons are plasma-based, their shields use basic energy deflection, and their hulls are made from a titanium steel composite. Nothing we have not seen before. Harrison took the folder and flipped through the pages. Each sheet contained detailed information about alien technology, gathered over decades of secret observation. The Vorthans were powerful, but they were not the most advanced species humanity had encountered. Doctor, remind me how many different alien technologies we have studied, Harrison said. Dr. Morgan smiled. 23 different species, sir. We have recovered crashed ships, intercepted communications, and even captured live specimens from 12 of those species. Our reverse engineering programs have given us capabilities that exceed most of what we have observed. The truth was something that would shock every person on Earth's surface. Humanity had detected alien life 4 to 5 years ago, when the first deep space monitoring station picked up alien radio signals from the Proxima system. Instead of announcing the discovery to the world, a small group of military and scientific leaders had made a different choice. They had decided to prepare in secret. Status report on the surface broadcasts, Harrison asked Communications Director Michael Stone. Stone looked up from his control panel, where he monitored all of Earth's outgoing radio and television signals. All normal, sir. We are still broadcasting the standard primitive signals. Basic television shows, commercial radio, and simple internet traffic. Nothing that suggests advanced military capability. This was perhaps the most difficult part of their deception. For decades, Earth's real technological development had been hidden while they deliberately broadcast the signals of a much more primitive civilization. They had even built fake space programs that appeared to struggle with basic orbital flight, while their real ships traveled between star systems. Harrison walked over to the main display screen, which showed a tactical map of the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the Vorthan ships, while blue dots showed the hidden locations of humanity's secret fleet. "Colonel Brooks, explain our ship positions to me," Harrison ordered. Brooks stepped up to the display and pointed at various blue dots. "The Retribution and her escort ships are hidden behind Jupiter, using the planet's magnetic field to mask their energy signatures. The Defiance battle group is positioned in the asteroid belt, camouflaged among the larger rocks. The Vengeance and her destroyers are holding position behind the Moon, and the Victory Squadron is spread throughout the outer system." Harrison counted the dots on the screen. 43 human ships, all hidden from Vorthan sensors, all waiting for his command. Each ship was built using technology taken from multiple alien civilizations and improved by human engineering. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from Captain Thompson," announced Lieutenant David Walsh from the communications center. "Put him through," Harrison replied. Captain Thompson's face appeared on the main screen. He was aboard the UES Retribution, humanity's most advanced warship, hidden behind Jupiter's massive bulk. "General, all ships report ready for Operation Silent Thunder," Thompson said. "The crew is anxious to finally reveal what we have built." Harrison nodded. Operation Silent Thunder was the plan they had developed over 15 years of preparation. It would reveal Earth's true capabilities in the most shocking way possible. "Captain, you have served with distinction during our secret missions to Alpha Centauri and Wolf 359. Are you confident in our technology?" Harrison asked. Thompson smiled. "Sir, our ships are equipped with quantum armor, fusion lances, gravity well generators, and phase shift missiles. We have taken the best technology from every species we have encountered and made it better. The Vorthans have never faced anything like what we have built." Dr. Morgan stepped forward. "General, I should mention that our intelligence indicates the Vorthan Empire has not encountered any species with our level of technological diversity. They typically face civilizations that developed along single technological paths. We have combined technologies from species that existed millions of years apart." Harrison understood her point. Most civilizations developed their own technology over thousands of years, following predictable patterns. Humanity had cheated by taking advanced technology from many different sources and combining them in ways that had never been tried before. "All stations, prepare for Phase 2 of Silent Thunder," Harrison announced to the command center. "In 36 hours, we will show the galaxy that Earth is not the primitive world they believe us to be." As technicians began final preparations throughout the underground facility, Harrison looked up at the screens showing the unsuspecting Vorthan fleet. Admiral Blake had no idea that he was not facing a helpless primitive world, but the most technologically diverse military force the galaxy had ever seen. The deception was about to end, and humanity was ready to take their place among the stars. Admiral Blake stood on the bridge of Thunder's Edge, watching the peaceful blue world below. 4 to 7 hours had passed since the humans had requested their ceasefire. In 1 hour, their time would be up, and he would begin the standard occupation procedures. "Sir, all ships report ready for planetary approach," said Commander Mitchell from her weapons station. "Shall I order the fleet to move into attack formation?" Blake nodded. "Begin descent toward the planet. Maintain standard intimidation pattern. Once these primitives see our ships in their atmosphere, they will surrender quickly enough." The Vorthan fleet began moving toward Earth in a formation designed to strike fear into any watching population. 37 silver warships descended like falling stars, their hulls reflecting sunlight as they approached the small world. Lieutenant Watson monitored her communications equipment, listening for the expected panic from the planet's surface. "Sir, I am detecting normal radio chatter from the planet. They do not seem frightened by our approach." Blake frowned. Most primitive worlds erupted in chaos when alien ships appeared in their skies. The calm response from Earth continued to puzzle him. "Sir." Communications Officer Davis suddenly shouted, his voice filled with alarm. "Massive energy signatures appearing throughout the system." Blake spun around. "What kind of energy signatures?" Before Davis could answer, the space around the Vorthan fleet exploded with activity. Enormous ships materialized from nowhere, their hulls gleaming with unfamiliar metals and bristling with weapons that hummed with deadly energy. "Where did they come from?" Blake demanded, watching his tactical display fill with red warning indicators. The largest ship emerged from behind Jupiter, its massive form dwarfing even Blake's flagship. The vessel was nearly twice the size of Thunder's Edge, with a hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange energy patterns danced along its surface. "Sir, that ship was not there 5 minutes ago," Mitchell reported, her voice shaking. "Our sensors detected nothing behind Jupiter except normal space." More ships appeared from the asteroid belt, rising from among the rocks like sleeping giants awakening. These vessels were sleek and deadly, with weapon arrays that Blake did not recognize from any known civilization. "Admiral," Davis called out, "we are receiving a transmission from the large ship." "Put it through," Blake ordered, though his mouth felt suddenly dry. Captain Thompson's face appeared on the main screen, wearing a uniform that looked both familiar and completely alien. Behind him, Blake could see a bridge filled with advanced technology that made Vorthan equipment look primitive. "Vorthan Fleet, this is Captain Thompson of the United Earthship Retribution. You are completely surrounded and outgunned. Stand down immediately and prepare to be boarded." Blake stared at the screen in disbelief. "Impossible. Our sensors detected no advanced civilization on this world. You cannot have ships like these." Thompson smiled coldly. "Admiral Blake, you have made the same mistake that dozens of species have made before you. You assumed that what you could see was all that existed." Suddenly, more human ships appeared from behind Earth's moon. These vessels were smaller but moved with incredible speed, taking positions that cut off any escape route the Vorthan fleet might have attempted. "Sir, we are detecting 43 human ships," Mitchell reported, her voice barely above a whisper. "They have us completely surrounded. Their weapon signatures are unlike anything in our database." Blake watched his tactical display with growing horror. The human ships had appeared with perfect coordination, forming an attack pattern that trapped his entire fleet. It was not the random appearance of ships stumbling into battle, but the carefully planned execution of a military operation. "How long have you been planning this?" Blake asked Thompson through the communication link. 45 years, Admiral," Thompson replied. "We have been watching your empire, learning your tactics, studying your technology. We know everything about how you fight, how your ships work, and how your empire operates." Blake felt cold fear creep up his spine. "You are primitive. Our scouts confirmed it. Your radio signals, your technology level, everything indicated a young civilization." Thompson's smile grew wider. "Those radio signals were carefully designed to make you believe exactly that. While you were listening to our fake primitive broadcasts, we were building the most advanced fleet in known space." Commander Mitchell studied her weapon readings with growing alarm. "Sir, their energy signatures are completely unknown. Some of their weapons appear to be more advanced than our own." Blake realized with dawning horror that his routine conquest mission had become something entirely different. The humans had not been caught off guard by superior alien technology. They had been waiting, prepared, and ready. "Admiral, your 48 hours are now up," Thompson announced. "You have 30 seconds to surrender your fleet, or we will take it by force." Blake looked around his bridge at the frightened faces of his crew. In 30 years of military service, he had never encountered an enemy that had prepared so thoroughly for his arrival. The humans had turned his own tactics against him, using deception and superior positioning to achieve complete tactical advantage. "Sir, they are powering up weapons," Mitchell reported. "All human ships are targeting our vessels. Their weapons are locked onto our engines and command centers." Blake realized he had walked into a trap that had been decades in the making. These humans had studied Vorthan military doctrine so thoroughly that they knew exactly how to defeat it. "Sir, what are your orders?" Davis asked desperately. Blake stared at the massive human ship on his viewing screen, knowing that his empire's reputation for invincibility was about to be shattered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The hunter had become the hunted, and Blake finally understood that Earth had never been the helpless world it appeared to be. Captain Thompson watched the Vorthan fleet from the bridge of the Retribution as Admiral Blake's ships tried to form a defensive formation. The alien vessels moved with practiced precision, but Thompson had studied their tactics for 15 years. He knew exactly what they would do next. "All ships, this is Retribution Actual," Thompson spoke into his communications array. "Execute Thunder Pattern Alpha. Show them what Earth engineering can do." The human fleet moved with deadly coordination. Ships that had been hidden behind asteroids suddenly accelerated toward the Vorthan formation, their hulls gleaming with energy shields that deflected the aliens' first desperate shots. Commander Lisa Parker led her squadron from the destroyer Valiant as they emerged from the asteroid belt. Her ships moved like hunting wolves, using their superior speed to circle around the slower Vorthan cruisers. Retribution, this is Valiant. Parker's voice crackled through the communications. We have target lock on their command ship. Requesting permission to fire. Permission granted, Valiant. Let them see what our kinetic bombardment system can do, Thompson replied. Parker's ships unleashed a barrage of kinetic missiles that streaked through space like silver lightning. The projectiles struck the Vorthan shields and passed right through them as if they were made of paper. The advanced human weapons had been designed specifically to counter alien shield technology. Admiral Blake watched in horror as 3 of his cruisers exploded under the kinetic bombardment. How are their weapons penetrating our shields? He demanded of his weapons officer. Commander Mitchell studied her readings with growing panic. Sir, their projectiles are phase-shifting just before impact. They are materializing inside our hulls and exploding from within. Our shields cannot stop weapons that bypass them completely. Blake had never encountered phase-shift technology before. His empire had conquered worlds for 3,000 years without facing weapons that could ignore their defensive systems. On the Retribution, Thompson ordered his next attack. Weapons officer, prepare the fusion lancers. Target their engines, not their command centers. I want prisoners, not debris. The massive human flagship's main weapons powered up with a sound like rolling thunder. Fusion lancers were humanity's most devastating weapon, created by combining technology from 6 different alien civilizations. The energy beams could cut through any known material. Lieutenant Emma Walsh, who had transferred from the destroyed Vorthan ship Rising Dawn after being captured 2 years earlier, operated the fusion lance controls. She had been secretly working for Earth Defense Command, feeding information about Vorthan technology to human intelligence. Fusion lancers ready, Captain, Walsh reported. All targets acquired. Fire, Thompson ordered. Brilliant beams of contained fusion energy lanced out from the Retribution, striking 5 Vorthan ships simultaneously. The beams cut through their hulls like hot knives through butter, disabling their engines but leaving their command sections intact. Blake felt his flagship shudder as human weapons disabled his propulsion systems. All ships, concentrate fire on the large human vessel, he ordered desperately. The remaining Vorthan ships turned their plasma cannons toward the Retribution, unleashing everything they had. Brilliant bolts of superheated plasma streaked through space toward the human flagship. But the plasma bolts simply vanished when they hit the Retribution's hull. The human ship absorbed the energy attacks without even slowing down. Sir, their armor is absorbing our plasma fire, Mitchell reported in disbelief. The energy is being converted and redirected into their own weapon systems. Thompson smiled grimly. The Retribution's quantum-locked armor was humanity's greatest defensive achievement. It did not just stop enemy fire, it converted the incoming energy to power the ship's own weapons. Commander Parker's squadron had circled behind the Vorthan formation and was now attacking from 3 directions simultaneously. Her ships used gravity well generators to trap enemy vessels, preventing them from maneuvering while other human ships destroyed them with precision strikes. Retribution, this is Parker, came her voice over the communications. Vorthan ships are trying to break formation and escape toward the outer system. Negative, Valiant. Do not let any ships escape, Thompson replied. Colonel Brooks, deploy the Vengeance Squadron to block their retreat. From behind Earth's moon, another group of human ships emerged. These vessels were faster than anything the Vorthans had ever seen, using propulsion technology reverse-engineered from a species that had mastered interstellar travel millions of years ago. The Vengeance and her escort ships moved to block the Vorthan escape route with impossible speed. Within minutes, they had formed a wall of ships that no alien vessel could pass through. Blake watched his tactical display with growing despair as his fleet was systematically destroyed or disabled. The humans fought with a level of coordination and technological superiority that his empire had never encountered. Sir, 15 of our ships are destroyed, 12 are disabled, and the rest are trapped, Mitchell reported. The humans have jammed our long-range communications. No distress signal is getting through to the empire. Blake realized that his entire fleet was about to be captured or destroyed, and no one in the Vorthan Empire would even know what had happened to them. Captain Thompson opened a communication channel to all remaining Vorthan ships. Admiral Blake, your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and your crews will be treated according to the Galactic Conventions of War. Continue fighting and we will destroy every remaining ship. Blake looked around his damaged bridge at the faces of his surviving crew members. They were soldiers of a proud empire, but they were also realists who could see that continued resistance meant certain death. All Vorthan ships, stand down, Blake ordered quietly. Surrender to the human fleet. As the last Vorthan weapons powered down, Thompson allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The battle had lasted less than 2 hours, and humanity had achieved complete victory against one of the galaxy's most feared military forces. The age of human secrecy was over, and the galaxy was about to learn that Earth was no longer hiding among the stars. Admiral Blake sat in the detention cell aboard the UES Retribution, staring at walls made from materials he did not recognize. The human ship was impossibly advanced, with technology that seemed to combine elements from dozens of different civilizations. Everything around him proved that his empire had made a terrible mistake. The door opened with a soft hiss, and General Harrison entered the small room. The human leader looked older up close, with gray hair and lines around his eyes that spoke of decades of careful planning and patient waiting. "Admiral Blake," Harrison said, sitting down across from the defeated Vorthan commander. "I hope you are being treated well." Blake studied the human general with curiosity and growing respect. "Your people fight with honor, General. My wounded crew members have received excellent medical care." Harrison nodded. "We learned long ago that treating prisoners well often provides better information than threats or torture." "How long?" Blake asked quietly. Harrison raised an eyebrow. "How long what? How long have you been planning this? How long have you been watching the galaxy while pretending to be primitive?" Harrison leaned back in his chair. "The first alien signal we detected was 53 years ago. It came from a trading ship passing through our system. Instead of making contact, we decided to listen and learn." Blake felt a chill run through him. 53 years of deception. Every radio broadcast, every television signal, every primitive space mission. All carefully designed to make species like yours underestimate us, Harrison explained. "While your empire was conquering worlds, we were studying your techniques and building defenses against them." The door opened again, and Captain Thompson entered the room. He carried a data tablet and wore the satisfied expression of a commander whose plans had worked perfectly. "General, the intelligence reports are complete," Thompson said, handing the tablet to Harrison. Admiral Blake's ship contained detailed information about 17 different civilizations the Vorthan Empire has conquered. Harrison studied the data with interest. 17 worlds, Admiral. Each one probably thought they were facing an unstoppable force. Blake's shoulders sagged with the weight of realization. "They were primitives compared to your empire. We had superior technology and numbers. Victory was always certain." "That is what we were counting on," Harrison said with a slight smile. "Your empire's confidence in its superiority made you careless. You never considered that a species might choose to appear weak while growing strong." Thompson activated his communication device. "General, we are receiving reports from our deep space monitoring stations. Word of the battle is spreading throughout the galaxy." Harrison turned his attention to Thompson. "What kind of reaction are we seeing?" "The Altrian Federation has requested immediate diplomatic contact. The Zephyrian Collective is offering a trade alliance. 3 other major civilizations have sent messages expressing interest in peaceful relations with Earth." Blake listened with growing amazement. "The galaxy knows what happened here?" Harrison nodded. "We broadcast the entire battle on frequencies used by every major civilization. Your defeat was witnessed by representatives from dozens of species." The implications hit Blake like a physical blow. The Vorthan Empire will demand revenge. They will send their entire fleet to destroy your world. Thompson and Harrison exchanged a look that made Blake suddenly nervous. "Admiral," Harrison said carefully, "your empire no longer has the largest fleet in the galaxy." Blake stared at him. "What do you mean?" Thompson activated his tablet and showed Blake a tactical display of human ship positions throughout the galaxy. Blue dots representing Earth vessels were scattered across dozens of star systems. "For the past 15 years, we have been secretly building shipyards in uninhabited systems," Thompson explained. "The fleet you fought was less than 10% of our total military capability." Blake felt his worldview collapse entirely. "How many ships do you have?" Harrison smiled. "Enough to defend ourselves against any threat. But more importantly, we have something your empire never developed, friends." The communication device on Thompson's belt chimed, and he answered it immediately. "Captain Thompson here." Colonel Brooks's voice came through clearly. "Sir, we are receiving a priority transmission from the Vorthan home world. Emperor Vexhan wants to speak directly with General Harrison." Harrison stood up. "Patch it through to the main conference room. Admiral Blake, would you like to witness your Emperor's reaction to our victory?" Blake followed the two humans through corridors filled with technology that made his empire's achievements look primitive. The conference room contained a massive display screen that showed the face of Emperor Vexhan, ruler of the Vorthan Empire. The Emperor's expression was a mixture of rage and disbelief. "General Harrison, you will release Admiral Blake and withdraw from Vorthan space immediately, or face the full might of our empire." Harrison remained calm. "Emperor Vexhan, your admiral attacked our world without provocation. We defended ourselves according to our rights under galactic law." "You are primitives." Vexhan snarled. "Your world showed no signs of advanced technology." "Your intelligence was flawed," Harrison replied simply. "We chose to appear primitive while developing capabilities that exceed your own." Thompson stepped forward. "Emperor, we have detailed records of your empire's illegal conquests of 17 worlds. This information has been shared with every major galactic civilization." Blake watched his emperor's face change as the political implications became clear. The Vorthan Empire's reputation had been built on the fear of their superior technology. If a supposedly primitive world could defeat them so easily, other species would begin to question Vorthan's strength. "What do you want?" Vexhan asked quietly. Harrison's expression became serious. "Peace, Emperor. We want to take our place in the galactic community as equals, not conquerors. But any future attacks on Earth or our allies will be met with the full force of our military." The communication ended, leaving the room in silence. Blake looked at Harrison with new understanding. "You never wanted to conquer the galaxy. You just wanted to survive in it." Harrison nodded. "We learned from watching your empire, Admiral. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. We chose a different path." As Blake was escorted back to his cell, he realized that humanity had not just defeated the Vorthan Empire. They had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever, and they had done it by being patient, clever, and prepared. The age of easy conquest was over.